Welcome friends to another r/malicious compliance video. Did you know the kindest people on earth are the ones that hit the like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our first story of the day is by Lucario Stormblade. Do something with my hair? Okay. I've been an over-the-road driver for a few years now, and the company I'm currently with is one of the best ones. With that being said, I have to share this tale of malicious compliance that actually had a good ending. My dispatcher and I kinda butt heads from time to time, mainly over me running things at my pace, and he wants me to have a little hustle. No big deal, we laugh about it and move on. Recently, he's seen my hair getting longer and longer and that it was getting matted. That's the curse of having naturally curly hair, I guess. Well, he saw it at full fro before I went home, and noticed I had a home time coming up. "When you get home, can you do something about your hair?" "Like what?" I replied. "I don't know, just do something about it," he replied. "Okay, fine, I will." So when I go home, I get it cut short to get rid of the curls, and had it dyed Sonic blue. I got rerouted back to our main terminal after home time for scheduled maintenance on the truck, and my annual review for the company. The following exchange happens. The dispatcher says, "You dyed your hair blue?" I say, "Yeah, you told me to do something with it, so I did." The dispatcher says, "Well, it actually looks cool, but I'm not sure how professional it is." I say, "Nothing to worry about. I actually checked with safety and there's nothing wrong with it being blue." The dispatcher says, "Okay, I'd hate to lose one of my better drivers because of a few pigments." "How long did that take?" I say, 3 hours roughly." They say, 3 hours? Did they have to grind the pigment themselves? I say, "No, my hair's actually naturally dark, so they had to bleach it blonde before they could add in the color. It took 2 bleachings and a toner." The dispatcher says, "If I had hair, I'd dye it a funky color too," and then lifts his hat to show the lack of hair. I say, "Well, off to my next run." The dispatcher says, "Be careful with that hair, man. You could stop traffic with how bright that is." I say, "I plan on it. See ya." So yeah, in the end, aced the annual review, no surprise, and I got to keep my blue hair. Be honest guys, if you think somebody does the job of over-the-road trucking, do you think it matters what hairstyle they have? Whether it's a buzz cut or down to the back of their back? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Gingerella19. Help me get rid of my hiccups. When I, now 30-year-old female, was about 18, my family and I were all hanging around the living room after dinner. My dad suddenly got a pretty bad case of the hiccups and, like any dad would, turned to me and my little sister and said, "Quick, someone scare me." My little sister, of course, jumped up and yelled, "Boo!" in a silly voice, but of course, that did nothing as he was expecting it. That's when I looked my father dead in the eyes and flatly said, "I'm pregnant." His face suddenly turned serious as he held my gaze. "That's not funny," he said. I shrugged. "No, but I bet your hiccups are gone." They were. Best part is, I was a very by-the-book, straight-laced kid in high school who didn't party, drink, do drugs, or even date due to a lot of religious reasons I held on to very tightly at the time. I was an extremely awkward tomboy who read excessively, watched anime, collected swords, played Halo poorly, and was considered one of the guys in my circle of friends. So the fact that this would even remotely scare my dad was insanely ironic. To be fair, regardless of the situations, I feel like as a parent, oftentimes, you probably feel unsure if you actually know everything that's going on in the kid's life. All I know is stuff happens and people, especially teenagers, make mistakes and things can happen, so you never know. Our next story is by CFWY Dirk. Toilet humor. Definition of pee hard-on is the useless hard-on induced by a full bladder of morning after the bar pee. The definition of torque is when you wake up in the morning with a pee hard-on. As you push down to aim for the water, your heels come off the floor. I was a bachelor for many years. My mom taught me ladies really like a clean bathroom. Sometimes Mr. Wiggly is hard to control. Of course, I have cleaning supplies in the vanity and always clean up after myself. My girlfriend of 4 to 5 months was spending the night. I went to the bathroom and had a partial miss. I cleaned up and, gasp, left the seat up. A little later, my girlfriend went to use the facilities and she almost fell in. She let out a small yelp. When she came back to the bedroom, she turned on the lights and strongly berated me for over 5 minutes, ending with me promising it would never happen again. I got little sleep that night. Despite my apology, she tore me a new one which I didn't deserve. Screw that. I now lift and close the seat and lid every time because she needs to lift the lid. If I have to, you have to. The next time she spent the night, after an evening at the bar, she woke up and had to go. Without turning on the light, she sat on the lid and peed on herself. She let out a shriek and yelled for me to come. She took a shower and I cleaned up. We got no sleep that night. She dumped me soon after. I get the whole leave the seat down thing, but honestly, closing the lid is what you're supposed to do. I guess leaving the seat up and down if that's a contention point, putting the lid down is fair for everybody, right? Then nobody has to do the arduous task of lifting the seat up or down any more than anyone else. Also, how do people go to the bathroom, don't even look at the toilet and just sit down to go? Like, I get it if you really gotta go, but like, even in those situations, I still wanna look at the toilet and make sure there's nothing weird going on. Our next story is by Roadkill1012. Let you handle it? Okay, I'll just be over here. I'm the video conference / audio visual specialist for a state agency. This means that I assist with any meetings that use Microsoft Teams, WebEx, Zoom, and anything in between, along with troubleshooting any issues with video conference equipment, TVs, Crestron racks, etc. However, if any equipment needs repair or replacement, we have a contract with a third party to come out and investigate. I'm also a mid-30s man, though I could probably pass for 20s, hence the kid remark later. And while I'm not going to win any strongman competitions, I'm 5'11", pretty stocky, and work out regularly. The incident. This happened last week. There's a TV mounted in the director's conference room that's been acting up for the past few weeks. Every time I think I've fixed it, it'll bug out again. Either the TV won't power on, or it will power on but only show a black screen. The TV won't respond to any inputs, etc. It may work for a day without issue, and then the next, everything I try won't get it working. Basically, the TV is FUBAR. I call up the contractor and explain the situation, and he then proceeds to talk down to me like I don't know how to do my job, which already rubbed me the wrong way. The contractor said, "Have you tried this?" I say yes. They ask this? I say yes. They ask this? I say yes. They say, okay, well, good news. TV should still be under warranty with us anyway, so we can probably come out and replace the TV. I say, okay, great. Well, give me a time so I can be available to help y'all out. The contractor says, we can handle it. We'll be out sometime tomorrow. I say, okay, great. Click. Now, what I had neglected to tell them was that this TV is an 84-inch Panasonic LCD display. It's a beast and very heavy. The weight in the full specs is 238 pounds. Next day comes and in walks a 5'5" man in at least his early 60s with very little muscle on him, and a tall lanky dude that I'm not saying was an addict, but I'm saying he was missing a lot of teeth, face was pretty scarred, and didn't look particularly fit. No way these guys are getting this TV off its mount. Shorty does the talking here. Shorty says, "You call about the TV?" I say, yeah, look, this TV's pretty heavy, so you just let me know where you need me to help get it down. Shorty says, no need, we got it. I say, trust me guys, this TV is a monster. Shorty then claps me on the shoulder saying, look kid, I've been doing this a lot longer than you, okay? Just leave it to the professionals. Cue malicious compliance. I say, okay, right this way. I lead them to the director's conference room, and they're all cocky smiles until they see this TV and their faces drop. They just sort of stand there in the doorway in a brief, stunned silence. I say, well, I'll be at my desk if you need anything. I walk off, and the way my desk is positioned, if I lean just enough, I can see into the conference room. I watch for a while as these two pace around the TV a bit, scratching their heads, trying to figure out how to get this TV down. Finally, I see them try and give it the old heave-ho with Shorty standing on his tiptoes, trying to lift this TV off its mount. His face turns beet red and his arms are shaking pretty hard. They give it a few more tries until finally deciding they can't get it. I see Shorty heading my way as I lean forward back to my desk. Shorty says, hey man, would you mind giving us a hand? I say, actually some important emails just came in, and I point to a screen he can't see that has Reddit pulled up. Shorty says, it'll only take a minute. I say, I don't know, I'd really like to leave it to the professionals. He says, please. I say, you know what, sure, these emails can wait. closes Reddit. We walk back to the conference room. I take one side, they both take the other, and all three of us heave this TV off and onto a dolly. They take it off and bring in a much lighter flat screen as a temporary replacement. They set it up and pack to leave. I say, "Thanks, guys." I clap Shorty on the shoulder, and hey, I'm here if you ever need anything next time. Shorty says, "Yeah, thanks." Grumble, grumble out the door. New TV works great, by the way. I kind of get it if they're supposed to really do things themselves. If they let people help them, then all of a sudden they become a little bit more liable for what happens if that person drops something. But in this case, when OP's saying this TV is a monster, and OP's saying they're a pretty stocky guy, so it's coming from somebody like that, probably should have checked it out first. But look guys, he was experienced. And our final story of the day is by Chrisella. You want a poster design? I thought some of you may enjoy this story. It happened to me, as friends seem to find it funny. I was handed a brief that said to design an A4 poster, health. It was to include an image and title and text that the client would provide later. A week later, I get a snarky message phone call from the client that as he's heard nothing from me, he was coming into the office. He turned up to our small office that had 8 to 10 people in it, no privacy, asking where the errant designer was. My hackles rise. He then had some comment about how he didn't realize I was a woman, and now he's not surprised he hasn't heard anything, as we women are forgetful. Hackles continue to be electrified. Now, he still hasn't supplied the title, text, or image. He turns to me and said something along the lines of, "Come on then, knock my socks off. What have you got for me?" So off I go to the printer around a corner, thinking, I'll bloody give you something. Come right back and I flourished him a piece of blank A4. He looks at me puzzled. So I put on my best barmaid smile, ran a pub for a while too, thank heavens for the practice, pointing to the different parts of the paper as if explaining a poster. I tell him this is where the image will be and say, imagine that the title will be up here, and say that when my client supply the text, he was the client, I would know better what font size I would need to use. As at the moment, the client hadn't supplied the text, so I didn't know if it would be something like beware or a paragraph of text explaining a medical condition. I also explained there may not be a hard copy such as he was holding, as I had also not been informed of whether it would be for the web or posted around corridors. I said if it was likely to be a poster, it would be in portrait, and if it was to be a PDF, then to visualize it being made in this format, and then took the piece of paper and handed it straight back in landscape. He went quiet, just sat looking at this piece of paper and looking. Then his body started this odd tremor/shake and just started roaring with laughter. I got a bottle of something nice for that. I think it was touch and go for a moment. FYI, the studio did everything from poster design, training manuals to 3D models, visualizations, and videos. All things considered, this guy came up in their workplace saying these incredibly sexist and rude things, putting people down. What OP did here is nothing short of saintly. The fact that they can take a situation like that where they're just saying incredibly rude things to their face and turn it around into kind of a comedic bit in a way. I mean, don't get me wrong, it also was kind of like a humiliation thing for this guy who obviously didn't do his half of the work, or fulfill his responsibilities anyways, but it was so tactfully done that the whole thing was you couldn't help but just stop and say, well, you made a great argument. Really just saved the whole situation right there. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories that I've read for you today, which was your personal favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.